Hello, my name is Marina DeMarco and I'm a neuromuscular physiotherapist working in Glasgow and the west of Scotland. This is my colleague Sarah Brown, and today we are going to take you through some of the stretches that you may have been shown in clinic by your physiotherapist. The reason that we do stretches when you have a neuromuscular disorder is to stretch not just the muscle, but all of the tissues that surround the joint. So you might feel as if your joints are a little bit stiff. For example, you can't take your arm into the end of range, you can't fully straighten that elbow. And it might feel like it's the joint that isn't working properly, but often it's because the muscle is weak. And if the muscle can't go through its full movement throughout that whole joint range, then the muscle begins to shorten and becomes what we call contracted. So you might develop a contracture around your elbow or your knee or your hip, and that's because the muscle isn't fully straightening out. So what we would tend to do is show you stretches for the joint that is tight, and those stretches will help your muscle stretch out, but also the soft tissue surrounding that joint and that muscle. The muscle is encased in what we call connective tissue, and that connective tissue becomes tight. The joints are surrounded by ligaments which hold the bones together, and those ligaments also become compromised. So by doing these stretches, through putting the joint through its full range of movement, you are not just stretching out the whole muscle itself, but you're looking after the joint health. If a joint doesn't go through its full range of movement, then the joint becomes compromised and the joint health itself isn't as good as it would be if that joint is going through its full range of movement. So you're not just tackling your muscles, you're also tackling your joints. What we're going to do today is we're going to do these stretches in standing, in sitting and in lying. So if, for example, you've got a problem with your balance, you might want to skip through the start of this video, which will be in standing, and go straight to the sitting or the lying stretches. But you'll know because the physiotherapist at clinic will have shown you the best way to stretch that joint, so you'll know exactly what your starting position is. Before you start, it would be useful to make sure that your joints are warm and that your muscles are warmed up too. So not doing them, for example, if you've come in from the cold, that's not a good time to stretch. You would do that when your muscles are warm. We would encourage you to hold the stretch for 60 seconds. Now we tend to do that in 3 short bursts of 20 seconds or 2 longer bursts of 30 seconds. So we would ask you to repeat the stretch either 2 or 3 times. And again, your physiotherapist will have explained that in clinic. These stretches are good for everyone, but if you are a child or young person, these stretches are particularly important for you. When you're growing, your long bones, the likes of your femurs, the bones in your legs and in your arms, they grow faster than your actual muscle does. So if you've already got a muscle weakness, the muscle takes longer to catch up with the bone. So that's when contractures develop, that tightness around your joints, and the muscles don't lengthen out properly. So we would ask you to do extra stretching during these growth phases. So when we are looking at these stretches, it's really important, if you are a child or a young person, that you make sure that you're undertaking these stretches on a daily basis, and perhaps even 2 or 3 times through the day if you can. So we're going to start off by doing the first stretch, which is the ankle stretch, and we're going to do that against a wall.